Go ahead.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Game Night. I'm joined, as always, with Mex.
Yep.
Steve, and joining us for the very first time, Tim. How you doing?
Hey.
Well, Tim, since it's your first time on the stream, let everyone know what your favorite game of all time is so they can get a little bit of a feel for how you are and what you are as a gamer.
That's a tricky one there. I'm gonna just say the OG Resident Evil, not the remake, the original PS1 Resident Evil.
Wasn't that coming out on the PS Classic?
It is.
So are you considering buying that?
Yeah, I'll probably get one.
Yeah. Is
Of course you
$100
will.
is $100 like too steep, or do you think it's
I don't.
priced correctly?
I think it's priced correctly. I think it just could have some better games on. I think it's definitely lacking some key titles that it should have, but
Like
I don't
what?
think it's gonna be.
I mean, you don't think Super Tetris Street Fighter, whatever it's called, is Puzzle Fighter 2?
No, that's Puzzle Fighter. They should have had Alpha 3 on there. I'm sorry, that's my cat. She knocked down my cord. Go away.
Yeah, I've already thrown my cat out of the room, so we still have at least one cat in frame.
Yeah, she is a monster today. She is not gonna let me alone. Go away. So yeah, I think there definitely could have been some better choices there, but I don't know if it was licensing issues or whatever issues, but
it was licensing. It was, Konami not wanting to cannibalize the sale of this Symphony of the Night collection that they just came out with, not wanting to put a Crash Bandicoot out when they just released a Crash Bandicoot remake, not wanting to put out a Spyro when they literally just last week put out the Spyro Reignite trilogy. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why the games are what they are.
I think that would have drummed up more business, though, because none of those games come with the original form of the game. So, what better way to, play the original games and be like, oh, I want to get to the new one now. So, I mean, that's just my thought process. But
well, you and Steve would have had a nice, been able to team up on me the entire time.
Yeah, the list was not inspiring. It was kind of all over the place with their picks.
Rainbow Six was the most ridiculous pick because that game's trash. That game's trash.
It was really weak. Because I had watched people kind of review it and trash it on YouTube, there was some more pop-ups, and there's this guy just a couple days ago that was talking about how he canceled his pre-order and went over each of the games and their pros and cons. But for the most part, he was like, well, a lot of these games are good, like nostalgia novelties, but you're not actually going to go back and play them start to finish. He's like, Cool Borders is great. Yeah, I would maybe play it for a couple minutes, but then you're never going to start that up again. It's just a nostalgia novelty. And there's too many games that are like that, and the ones that aren't, you can get on other systems or you can get better versions. But yeah, I don't think it was indicative of the best of what they could do.
No,
they could have put better on, and the guy had said stuff that made sense to me now after the fact. Like, there's a lot of PS1 games on their online store that they could have just moved over because the rights to that shit should have been already kind of sorted out. Like, there's older Tomb Raiders on is it the PSN network? I don't know what the hell they call it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They have their PS Classics collection that you can play and even stream on PlayStation now.
There's no Tomb Raider on that system, and there's easily a couple of games that they could have bumped to put something like that would have been more of a nostalgic draw for the people who played that back in the day. But there's a lot wrong with it. I think the list was just uninspired. It felt to me like a much more sanctioned version of one of those piece of shit 20 games in one things that you'd get with like Pac-Man and a bunch of Atari things. No good. Not interested.
I'm a sucker. Well, one, I want to also see if the Resident Evil is actually the real director's cut, because I don't know if anyone knows, but the director's cut we got in America wasn't actually any different than their regular one. We were supposed to get a full color opening. The FMV was this live cheesy action, and it was all gory and sloppy. And we got like a chopped up black and white version, and they were supposed to give us the full color, non chopped up version. So I'm curious to see if they actually put that in that package. Probably not, but maybe.
Well, that's pretty cool. I'm definitely not getting a PlayStation Classic because I have no nostalgia for any of that. But
I don't know. I really like Siphon Filter, but I don't know if it's worth $100 to play the game again.
I'm sure you can track it down somewhere.
Yeah.
I like some of those games, but I already own them on other platforms. I think I own maybe like 5 different copies of Final Fantasy VII, and everything else isn't worth $100 to me.
Yeah.
I still own like all the physical versions of them, like on the original PlayStation discs I have downstairs.
Yeah, I would have probably paid 100 to maybe even $150 for my Super Nintendo Classic, and despite how much I love it, I've probably only sunk like less than 10 hours into it. It's just sitting upstairs in a drawer by the TV. I probably would have played it more if I didn't have a child, but I'd play a lot of different things more if I didn't have a child.
Yeah, for sure.
Kids ruin everything.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, those are things that you're not playing. Let's talk a little bit about things that you are. Steve, what are you playing these days?
Ever since I got my 1070, I've been. Well, actually, no. Ever since that deal came on, I've been playing Destiny 2. And then, like 3 days later, I bought the DLC Forsaken for it, but I did not buy the season pass for this upcoming junk that it comes with. So,
what does the season pass include?
The DLC that comes out in like before December, next couple days. It's like the Black Armory or something, and then 2 other smaller, I think, DLCs down the line. Don't know. Don't really care. I just wanted I knew the Forsaken had a lot of stuff in it that a lot of people really liked. So to me, it was only like $15, $10. So that's what I got. Been playing that every chance I get. And currently I hit the soft cap in the game, which is power level 500 out of 600. So that's where the stuff that drops, it stops like equating to your power level plus a couple. It's now always just 500, and the only way to get anything better is to get like high grade engrams or quests to get the loot. So I've done a couple of those, and I actually got a really random exotic drop last night because I was looking at my old sword and I was like, damn, I like this, but it's going to be really intensive to upgrade it to where it needs to be. And I randomly bumped into a monster that I killed, and it dropped me this fucking amazing sword that shoots laser beams. And I was like, okay, that works for me.
Sounds interesting.
Have you done a raid yet, or anything multiplayer besides that one night that we played for a couple hours?
I joined 2 strikes, which are like those individual dungeons that you run in with 3. And both times I did it, I waited probably like 5 minutes. And the first time I connected, 2 guys were actually done. And so as soon as I joined, it said mission ending in 5 seconds. And I was really confused because I thought I lost, even though I just connected.
Yeah.
And then the next time, basically the same thing happened. It connected me with a group where they were basically done. And before I even caught up to them, it was like, collect your loot and go. So that was that. I think you kind of need a good group to do raiding, and I don't know the dungeon, which is helpful. Plus, since I can't use the microphone, it's going to be extra difficult for a raid because people are going to want to tell me things and I can't hear them.
Yeah.
Other than that, there's like a daily and weekly reward for doing PvP, which is garbage. I hate PvP in Destiny. The most tolerable one is the Gambit, where it's like a PvE, where it's you and a map, and there's like waves, and every time you kill somebody, they drop an item, and you take them back to cash in. First team to 75 spawns like a big boss. First one to kill the big boss wins. but occasionally you can get an invasion from the other team to come, and absolutely every time that happens, I'm dead in like 3 seconds because like you have no idea where they are. It'll kind of spawn them somewhere out of the way, and before you even know it, you just took a sniper shell to the head.
I mean,
Or
it sounds like AV and WoW, you know.
A little bit.
What's AV?
Um, I forget what it
Oh,
stands
something
for.
Veil, REM Veil, or something like that.
It's the one where it was like 40 on 40, but and you were trying to take over the flag points. You move down if you were the Alliance to capture the towers, and then you're supposed to kill the end boss. So it is a PvP map, but it's very PvE oriented.
Yeah, this one is straight PvE. Like both teams are on their own instance.
Yeah.
But then you can jump in a portal at either a given or some sort of timed event and jump over to the other team. But inevitably, you get the one guy who's got the super sniper rifle, or he's all charged up with his ultimate, and he'll just pop in, kill everybody, and disappear. And
Is there any incentive for doing that, or is it just to be a dick?
If you can take some quests to get to like certain ranks or just do certain things in PvP and get items. I told you that you need like powerful gear drops, not just legendary gear drops to go over 500. And once a day and once a week, you can get powerful drops from doing that PvP game mode. You can do the other ones too, but I'm not going to do deathmatch. I can't stand playing with other people. That game's not very well suited for PvP anyway. It's not hyper balanced.
I was going to say, are you able to take your gear that you have right into PvP, like without it being nerfed or any balance at all to?
The gear doesn't balance. Everybody, I think, sort of they normalize. So you could have somebody who's like a light level 100 and a 600, and they'll just sort of equalize the damage. But the game has a lot of one-hit kills. So a sniper rifle to the head will just kill you. A melee, if you have a charged melee, will just kill you. Anybody's ultimate will just kill you. So if you don't have the twitch reflexes of a 12-year-old like we used to back in the CS days, then no. By the time you see somebody who's colored red and you're like, I think that's an enemy, they've already killed you 4 times. So no, PvP in that game's not terribly balanced. And it's really not fun for me because I don't really like PvP anyway. So it's just something that I do to get the reward and just get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. What about you, Dan? What are you playing?
Well, my dog was not feeling too well yesterday. I woke up to quite the mess. He barfed in his crate. I let him outside, and he ended up having the runs and had a little bit of blood in his stool. So I got to take a day off work to take care of my kid. So for the first time since I bought the game, I actually had an extended period of time to sit down and play Red Dead Redemption 2. A game I've been avoiding playing since I bought it. No, I don't. I don't hate it. It's actually a really good game. But unless you have these massive chunks of time to play it, it's not a good game. It's not. You can't pop in, you can't pop out. Like in the 5 hours that I played it yesterday, I don't think I accomplished that much. I rode my horse around a lot. I killed a lot of like bears and stuff, but I didn't really progress the story at all. I had a lot of fun doing it, but if I would have done the same amount, like if I would have done 1 hour chunks of the 5 hours that I did, I wouldn't have had that good of a time. So I'm starting to see what people are saying about it, but it's definitely not built for my lifestyle.
Yeah. Tim, have you played that?
Yes, and I have the same feeling Dan does. I got a release day, and I haven't really played it since. Played a couple times, but it's just too in depth for me, man. There's too much going on. Not really digging the eating, the sleeping, the bathing. I'm not really into the simulation part.
Yeah. But the game itself looks amazing, like graphically.
It's a pretty looking game, and it sounds cool. Like, it sounds good. Like it makes you feel like you're in a western and everything. It's just, I don't know. It just sounds weird, but like I came to my first like house I started checking all the cupboards, and I couldn't stand how you open up a drawer, picked one piece up, and then you had to pick one other piece up. It was like Shenmue from like 2001. Is like just I want to open it. Like I don't even want to see the animation open a drawer. I just want to open it. Like just hey, that's what I got out of the drawer.
Put it all in my
You just want to
inventory.
press A for loot all.
Yes, yeah. Maybe it's just because I'm impatient. I'm older. Time is valuable. I don't have the time to sink in this game, so I gave up on it.
I'm also, especially like when I was popping in and popping out, like the controls aren't intuitive at all.
No,
like I accidentally kill so many people in that game.
Yes,
it's not even funny. Like I was trying to play straight, and I just said, "All right, screw it. I'm not playing as a straight man anymore. I'm going in and killing everybody because I'm constantly holding people up by accident. So why try to fight it?" But I mean, I can definitely see why people like it. If you have yourself a day that you don't have anything to do, it's raining or something outside, just sit down and play it nonstop, push through, and I think you'll understand. But it's not meant to be played in small pieces. Max, what about you? What are you playing these days?
A lot of Pokemon Go. Still hanging out on my phone. Sarah's
got
me.
This?
Oh yeah. I've noticed if you go slower, like if you just go real slow, it actually works a little bit better. So I've been doing that a lot. Sarah's got me hooked on Paper IO 2, which is like a little snake game where like you try to hit other people's trails that they leave, basically.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So that's fun. Nothing on like consoles. I feel like I've given up on my Xbox almost. I don't really play anything anymore.
Most people have.
I mean, other than Rock Band, like which I played finally for the first time since we got our kitten. He did not seem to enjoy that. I think I was making way too much noise. But other than that, yeah, I don't really touch my Xbox anymore. And I think I actually burnt myself out a little bit on MTG Arena, which makes me a little sad. But I kind of just grind out 5 wins a day and just, call it there. I used to do like the constructed event like over and over and over again to grind the gold, which is, fairly easy to do. But I'm just kind of getting bored with doing that now.
I couldn't pick it back up after Jeff had told me that there's not going to be another reset, and I was like, oh shit, I should jump in and play. I started, I think I picked the green deck, and I outfitted it with a handful of like rares and uncommons to try to make it something like half decent. And I didn't realize that they don't care what your level is. Their matching is by what the perceived strength of your deck is. So because of some of the rares that I put in, they were matching me, an unranked person, versus like a fucking gold star person who's messing around with an actually well put together deck, and I was getting destroyed left and right. I was like, how does a new person jump into this and think it's at all fair, being like, oh, I've like a 0 level bronze and I'm fighting somebody with a fucking like crown level gold, and they immediately
stop making such good decks.
Yeah, I mean the ranking system doesn't really mean much. Like it's really weird because like you win one game and you go up a little bit, you lose one game and you lose like half your level. So I think they're still working on like how the ranking system actually works.
It's still just frustrating though too.
Oh yeah, I can definitely understand that like you put in 2 rares and then you're getting 10 mythics shoved down your throat, from the other guy.
Yeah, well it's about like they can take some undervalued white and black, because I basically played the same 3 decks over again. It was like a black white life gain deck that was properly put together, so they at least had enough grinded out that they could get their cards. But I'm sitting there trying to use this jank ass beginner's deck with like 2 extra rares that I threw in, and I'm like, all right, forest, stupid elf, forest, stupid elf, and by the time I even get anything close to out, they're like, well, I've gained 80 life. I've got a little guy who's now an 80/80 because every time I gain life, I've got a million bats, and just for fun, I've got like a fucking tier fee.
Yeah,
and you're dead. And it's like,
I mean, that's kind of how I felt when I was playing you, Dan. I kind of felt bad. So I'm like, okay, are you ready to die this turn? Because I don't know what you have, but it's not good enough to counter this.
No, I mean, I was just playing with the starter decks, and
yeah,
I'm still just trying to farm up enough gold and card packs to put together something that's worth time. But
yeah, I mean, even
I'm doing fine as long as you don't edit the starter deck. You just keep getting pushed up against other people with starter decks, and then you can just win pretty much nonstop. So
yeah, the second you customize it, they start throwing you against people who've been playing and have put something not like amazing, but something cohesive together, which is the problem because the starter decks aren't. There's a lot of weird choices in there, like any MTG starter shit. So, yeah, didn't have a great experience. And then after I got my new graphics card, I was like, I don't need to play this. I can go play some fun stuff that looks good.
Yeah.
And then instead, I played Destiny 2, and I've been looking at loading screens for the past week.
All right, Tim, anything else you've been playing this week?
No, I haven't really been playing much. I'm just really set on Resident Evil 2 in 2 months, so that's all I think about.
Just shutting it all down until Resident Evil 2 comes out?
Yeah, I'm hyped. I cannot wait.
Well, I'm actually interested to play that because I've only ever played Resident Evil 2 on my GameCom. Remember that thing?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, I just dug that out of my parents' basement the other day. So we're gonna have to bust that out and compare it to the remake because I think that might be the two biggest ends of the spectrum for Resident Evil 2, the GameCom version and the remake.
I think so.
All right, man. Well, we are like a half an hour in and we haven't gotten through the intro yet. So let's go to our first topic. If you watched the 2 weeks ago episode, we were talking about the Nintendo 64 Classic, what we wanted to see on it.
Yes.
And the dream is dead. Reggie from Nintendo came out and said that they are not working on one, not for this holiday season. But he did say that they are not ruling anything out and they want to focus all of their classic content to the Switch Online service. So, Tim, as the other Switch owner of the group, do you have the Switch Online service?
No.
No,
I do not.
Is there anything that could draw you in? Like if they started putting Super Nintendo games on, or maybe even Nintendo 64 games, there's nothing that can pull you into that environment.
I was a Sega kid, and so I like Nintendo. I love Nintendo, but I'm a Sega boy, so there's nothing
there.
No, there's nothing that they're really gonna do for me.
Yeah, I'm not heartbroken over this either because I never had a Nintendo 64. So when we were doing this draft, Steve and I, we both never played Nintendo 64. So we're like, let's go with the highest selling games. I don't know.
I didn't care then, and I don't care now.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
So okay, let's rephrase this. The dream is dead for Dan, I guess.
As you can see, you probably can't because it's really small. I got my Nintendo 64 set up back there. Got a whole bunch of games, like original Nintendo 64 boxes on the ground over there. I'm a big Nintendo 64 guy. It was my first, I was old enough to appreciate video games at that point. I had an NES. I had a Super Nintendo. But the 64 was like right in my wheelhouse when I was really into gaming. So I was looking forward to that, and I'm a little bummed. But since you guys don't give a shit, moving on to the next topic, a much bigger one. Sony is not going to be at E3 for the first time in the history of Sony. Well, PlayStation. From Sony, PlayStation fans mean the world to us, and we always want to innovate, think differently, and experiment with new ways to delight gamers. As a result, we have decided not to participate in E3 2019. We are exploring new and familiar ways to engage our community in 2019 and can't wait to share our plans with you. What does this mean?
It's a bunch
PS5?
of shit.
Is it that our title? This means PS5 is coming out next year.
Well, I read somewhere that I guess the people who hold E3, their fees are astronomical. So maybe Sony's just getting the shits of, especially when they do their PSX conference. Xbox does their conference. Do you really even need E3 anymore? Like the PSX event when they unveiled the PS4 was like that just rocked everyone's world, and that wasn't even close to E3. And it's like they don't need E3.
No, I don't need it, but you're really opening the door up for other people to come in and eat your shit. Like it's going to be like Xbox needs to go all balls to the wall on this E3. And they're going to
space. they're gonna fail if they don't unveil Scarlet. They're gonna fail because you can only tell me how many developers you ate up, mid-tier, not that great developers, and act like it's a big deal. Because I'm sorry, fucking Ninja Theory isn't that big of a deal.
Hey, that Senua game was pretty fun.
It was all right, but like I just if you're really gonna beat the drum,
these guys,
like,
there's a lot of potential in their developers, and they bought
absolutely.
a fucking enough of them that a couple of them have to hit. If they give Obsidian Fable and let them just go to town on it, it's gonna sell. But they're not anywhere close to being it. Yeah, they're not anywhere close to being able to.
No, and that's the thing. It's like, well, I'm not getting excited over something that's 5 years away. Just like when they announced Death Stranding, that stupid piece of shit Kojima game. Like, fucking, who cares? Like, show me when the game's like remotely playable. I don't give. I'm not. I don't care.
You mean like the Final Fantasy VII remake that they've been teasing out for like the past 3 years?
They should have never said a word about that. They should have just kept their mouth zipped until you actually have something to show, because that is not a PS4 game or an Xbox game. That is like that's a PS5 game. I guarantee it. That is not coming out on current consoles.
A PS Ultimate?
Maybe
2026.
It might be that long. What was Final Fantasy 15's development? 10 years?
That seems pretty long.
Yeah, it was one of those games they scrapped and remade like twice.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing to 7 right now. They just can't figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's just. I'm getting some echo. Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit back from Tim. I'm not sure it's coming through.
I had this pet theory, Tim. You weren't here last time unless you watched the episode. That the Square Enix licensing for Final Fantasy is that they were going to keep making Final Fantasies, new ones, until they started to flounder, and then they'd start selling the old ones again. Because I used to tell people like 10 years ago, I was like, they're going to remake Final Fantasy VII once they fuck up enough of their other stuff. And at that time, we had hit all of the Lightning Returns versions of Final Fantasy, whatever
Final
number
Fantasy
that was.
13, I think.
Then they did the Final Fantasy 14 online, which bombed really hard right out of the gate, to the point where was, I think, a year into it, they had to scrap the whole thing, remake the whole game. And then it seems like from that point forward, they started to win again. They had a whole bunch of losses, and then they started to pick back up because Final Fantasy 14 became good. People played it. 15 came out. It was good. People played it, and they just started milking them for all they're worth. Expansions for both of them. Until recently, there was like fucking 10 or 15 expansions planned for Final Fantasy 15, and then that guy left and they just shot them all down. Now there's going to be like one released, and then they're done with it, I think.
Fishing was the best part of 15. I love the fishing.
But
I enjoyed 15 other than the travel time. Like when you're sitting in your car for like 2 minutes real time to just go across the map, like that's what killed the game for me. I really enjoyed.
Don't play Red Dead Redemption.
I really enjoyed the gameplay and everything, but just the loading times were like a huge killer to me.
Yeah, I think that when they were in their low point is when they're like, "Hey guys, we're remaking 7." And then after they started making money again, they just quietly were like, let's just develop this, we'll just sideline it a little bit. And then now that Final Fantasy 14 is just sort of, it's not like the end stage of its life, I want to say. It's like
they just announced another expansion. They're still going very strong.
Okay, but 15 is DOA now that guy left. They're not doing anything else. So it's like, do we dust off that old chestnut and start teasing it again in case Final Fantasy
most definitely.
Or
I mean, Phil, it was more than just smashing buttons. There was like one specific button that you had to push at the right time. But yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying.
So you think that Final Fantasy 16 is going to come out before Final Fantasy 7 does?
Yes.
Let's see how their financials are doing.
Let's take a look at the stock. Let's see
here. I'm sorry. I get whenever I can hear myself coming back through my brain turns off. And Mex, it's you that's people are coming back through. It's coming back through your mic. I'm not sure how, but that's what's happening.
I mean, I'm hearing you through my headphones, and it's like right next to my microphone, so it could be that.
Maybe turn your turn your head. You have an individual control of your headphone volume that you can maybe turn down a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, so
no, it's not.
When do we think the next console cycle is going to start? Now that Sony's not here, Xbox is going to have the big stage. Tim's saying that he thinks they need to come out and announce Scarlet at this E3. When is it?
I think 2019. I still think 2019. If not 2019,
insane.
first quarter of 2020.
You're absolutely insane. No, come on.
I think you're gonna have a PSX in February. It's gonna unveil it.
So you're thinking an early 2019 PSX.
Yep.
It's gonna unveil the PS5.
Yep. If it doesn't happen then, that means we're gonna have an PSX, and then we'll have a January to March release PS4. But it's coming out very soon. And Ghost of Tsushima, that's a PS5 game. That is not a PS4 game.
Well, see that I agree with you about that. I think that a lot of these games that we're seeing are PS5 games, and that's the reason why PlayStation's not going to be at E3. I don't think they have anything to show.
They don't. They absolutely don't. I think you're gonna see Days Gone's coming out in March. Yeah. That's coming. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll get Last of Us. I know you'll get Last of Us.
Dreams is in there too. They said that Dreams is going to happen. I mean, Dreams was supposed to be a launch title of the PlayStation 4, and we still haven't gotten that yet.
That's what I mean. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they just say, "Yeah, put that on the." Because there's not a lot of hype about that. I mean, people are excited, but they're not going gaga over it.
Well, while we're on the topic, let's see if I can poke some more holes in your 2019 theory.
Or I still said first quarter 2020, which is we're talking about a 4-month window span.
Next up, Xbox is releasing a diskless Xbox in 2019.
Yeah.
This is not part of that Scarlet family we were talking about. This is just going to be another SKU, no optical drive on it at all, targeting a lower price point. So you think that we're going to have a new Xbox come out, the different SKU'd Xbox to come out, and then additionally another different SKU'd Xbox come out later that year, and then that same year also get the Xbox 2?
Potentially.
I don't know, man.
Your NES Mini. Your NES Mini came out when the Super Nintendo was out.
Yeah, I know. That was back before they understood how video games work. There was 5 more Mega Mans that came out on the Super regular Nintendo while the Super Nintendo was out.
Well, they know that. They're just looking to milk they already got a chipset and everything. Make it cheap as possible and make the most money off of it. That's all they're trying to do. They do it every generation. I mean, look at the chintzy PS3 slidey do thing they came out with at the end of it.
Yeah, that didn't come out the same month as the next one.
I'm pretty sure it was in very close proximity. It might even came out. It was very, very close proximity of the PS4.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that we'd hear more rumblings. Some developers would be leaking some things if we were anywhere close. Because if you're right, that means dev kits are already out there.
Oh, I think they're out there already. I'm positive they're out there already.
Okay. Well, back to the Xbox, because I don't want to skip over a few of these, because I know this whole story probably pisses you off as a physical game only guy. Xbox is going to offer a disc to digital program where you can take your physical copies of an Xbox game and trade them in for a code so that you can put them into your Microsoft account and play them on your new diskless Xbox.
Aren't digital downloads slightly more expensive than just buying the game?
Almost correct? Always. They definitely don't price drop nearly as fast as the discs. They usually stay full price or a slight price drop, where you can go pick up a copy of Assassin's Creed Odyssey for $21 now on a disc.
Do you think that's going to impact their diskless Xbox? I can't say that word.
Absolutely. I think it's going to fail like the PSP Go did.
The PSP Go came out in a completely different time. People are coming around to the idea of doing digital only.
But they did the same thing.
You're the crotchety old man that needs to have his all the video games, man. It's Steve is a PC gamer. When was the last time you bought a video game, like a physical video game?
I think the actual last one that I bought was Pokemon. I think it was that day and night one, Moon and Sun. It was sometime close to when Pokemon like Go first came out, and I was looking for something for Sarah, and I didn't enjoy the process because I bought that for her, and then I was just trying to find a cheap one for myself with my DS. And Pokemon games have a tendency to keep their value.
Oh yes.
Really, yeah, I was not aware of that because I haven't been in the physical game market for a long time, and I can't really go back because I'm used to Steam, where there's 40 fucking million games that I'm interested in. I throw them on a wish list. I forget about them until every single day I get an email from Steam that's like, your games are on sale. Which ones? And I go through, I'm like, nope, not interested. And then one day it's like, hey, 42 of your games are on sale. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's
Steam sale.
It's Steam sale. And then I go on, I get like 20 to 30 bucks, load up on a bunch of games I've had on my wish list for a while, or I'll splurge and I'll get like the $20-$30 new game that comes out. So like now we're entering the time frame for Monster Hunter World, because I've been interested in it, but I wasn't going to drop 50-60 bucks on it. Probably wasn't going to drop 40, and it may hit 20-30, somewhere in that neighborhood during like the winter sale. And if I'm not doing anything else, I'd pick that up. And you don't really get that in the console market. You gotta go get your game or buy it and have it shipped to you. And
well, I think it's totally different for a computer. I mean,
yeah.
Why?
Like half the computers don't even have CD-ROM drives anymore. Like,
well, now an Xbox doesn't have a CD-ROM drive anymore.
Well, yeah, but that's such a new concept for a console, though.
Yeah.
Well, let me put this into perspective, because my brother-in-law lives in Michigan and in a place that the internet isn't very good, like quite a lot of people. So for him, a console is really nice because you can just buy the disc, you're good to go, and the internet's stable enough and slow enough that online is fine because you don't need a strong internet connection just to play online. But I was talking with him about Destiny 2 because it was free. And I was like, hey, did you claim it? Did you download it? Do you want to play sometime? And he's like, yeah, I claimed it, started downloading it. And after I went to bed for the evening and woke up, and it was like 20 hours later, and I'd only downloaded like 10 or 9 gigabytes or like 90% of it. He's like, nah, fuck this. It took him like a whole entire night. I started the download before we even started talking that last time we were on, and I was almost done by the time we were, and it was going slow because we were streaming too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it still took me roughly an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to download the 8 gigabytes. I mean, that's a lot of data.
Yeah, so I actually looked this up because this is probably the only one of our topics that really holds any interest to me. It's like 72% of Americans have access to broadband right now, so you're still missing a quarter of the population, which is really going to value, if they're customers of yours, a local console system. I mean, you can still have non-broadband and still play online, but you're not downloading stuff. You're not going to be constantly patching gigs and gigs. And to them, a more classical console is going to be a better fit.
And there's going to be that option. We're not ready for this to be the only Xbox. It's just going to be an option. Just an example. There was a Fallout 76 patch that dropped last night. It was 46 gigabytes. A patch.
That's bigger than the actual game install.
Well, the thing is, the day one patch was the same size as the game install, and then This patch was almost as big as that.
And didn't they have some flub where it's like it accidentally also deleted the game, so you had to re-download the whole thing?
I think that's instead of just patching the stuff they needed to change, you actually were just re-downloading the entire game.
So if that was my brother-in-law, that's like a week
but
of just sitting there.
He could have went out. Like I was at the gas station today and I saw Fallout 76 was available in the red box. You're going to need to rent it for 2 days because you're going to need the first day just to install the damn thing. But that's besides the point. Even if you buy that game on disc, you're still in the same boat that everybody that bought it digitally is in. There's no game that you get that doesn't have a massive day one patch anymore.
I think my feeling, you won't get rid of physical media for a very long time because the people we're the hardcore. The casuals
for 5 more years, man. For 5 more years until the generation beneath us that's used to not having physical media, that's raised on Netflix, it's never bought a movie. They're the people that are going to be the target demographic.
Those kids are still getting games for Christmas. They're still getting games for their birthday. You know, they're still getting.
That's only because the people that are buying their games don't understand it. We're going to be the people buying their games moving forward. And if you're going to tell me that you want your little whippersnapper running around with a stack full of breakable discs when you can just buy a digital copy of this, it doesn't matter if they snap it or shit on it or forget to put it back in the case, it's going to be fine.
My thing is, I think what's the ratio of like people like us that buy there's 80 million PS4s out in the wild.
Don't lump me in with you anymore, man. I'm digital only. My last 3 games.
Let's say there's 80 million PS4s out in the wild. 80 million. Like, how many people are like us who read articles? We're up to date. It's a hobby to us. We know about it. How many of those 80 millions are just randos that like walked into Target was like, oh, fuck, Call of Duty looks pretty cool. I think we're getting a PlayStation.
Really cool. And I bought the combo. I bought the combo bundle, and it just had a PC download or a download code in it.
They don't. The PlayStations come with discs, first of all. Well, all the PlayStation bundles come with discs. They don't come with the codes like Xbox.
But how many of these people even give a shit? There's probably a significant portion of gamers that bought it for Call of Duty, FIFA, Madden. Actually, I think FIFA is the most popular game on the fucking planet because
it is.
So many countries.
It is.
So how many people who probably just bought a console just to play that and sports games give a fuck about any of this? They just
they don't care. They don't care about the disc. You can take the damn thing off. They don't care.
They care about what's going to probably be the cheapest, and brick and mortar stores are always going to be cheaper than digital. Because floor space is valuable, and you're always going to get a better price. Right now, it's great. It's
only because they have to keep these relationships with brick and mortar. Once Sony, once Microsoft, once these people don't care about the brick and mortar store anymore, they can start putting stuff on sale in their digital marketplace. That's the only thing that's keeping these games.
That's the problem. Once you have the market corner in digital, it's basic business. I'm not going to discount my game. I don't need to discount my game.
Look at Steam. Steam has the market cornered, and there's already.
But here's the thing: Steam's trying to grab your money right now. Steam's trying to get you. Like they're not. They want you. They don't want you to go to the store to buy that. They want you to come to them to buy it. So they're going to make it as enticing as possible.
I mean, it's easier. Why not?
But once they're the only player in town, I don't need to lower anything. You want it, you're going to pay for it. Period. That's just how it's going to be.
You sound like Comcast.
They still sell codes.
I think we're running into a little bit of a nomenclature issue here where it's backwards when I'm listening to you guys, because you're saying that the digital downloads are always going to be more expensive than the physical media, but that's been totally backwards for PC to the point where
there's no physical media for PC anymore.
Yeah. There's some ancient WoW discs you might be able to pick up.
Probably still get like a battle chest. Yeah.
But it's always been backwards for them. Like the digital download, even when you could get both, would be cheaper, faster because they don't have to make anything. It's just there. But that was also always their environment. Whereas the consoles, it's been backwards. It's always been a physical environment switching over to media based. And as for if it's always going to be more expensive, I don't know how much of that is going to be true until they start doing that overly corporate colluding with each other type stuff, because you still have competitors popping up here and there. They're not very strong. Like Steam's king of the hill right now, but Netflix used to be king of the hill, and now they have Amazon to deal with. They've got Hulu, and most of them, besides Prime, weren't a big deal. But now that more and more people are jumping in, especially Disney, there's a lot of bigger fish in the water. And I think once things move into a more digital environment, Steam's going to have more competition.
You're already starting to see it with people pulling their games off of Steam in favor of their own platform. I mean, the biggest game in the world right now is Fortnite. You have to have an Epic launcher to install that. All Epic would need to do is start getting some partnerships with some other games, bring some crap onto their system, because they've already got Epic Launcher installed on 300 million PCs or something ridiculous like that. I mean, that's hyperbole, but still, it's a large number of PCs. So I mean, they're primed and ready. They have their payment systems ready because they do all their payments through that. So they don't. There's nothing that Steam has that they don't. They could easily move. There's other people that are doing the same.
Yeah, but that's like one game though, man. Like that's
the game right now though.
You got to think of it as a platform though. They could easily have other games. They have their piece of software installed on your computer already. They can move in there, and you're also ignoring the enormous, elephant in the room is that games are going to probably end up getting cheaper before they get more expensive, and it's not for the best.
What do you mean?
These game companies want to load it full of microtransactions, and they want to get it in your living room as cheap and as quickly as possible, so they can start charging you on the back end.
Yeah, but Sony's bucking that trend with all their first-party games, though.
Yeah, for how long though?
I think they're going to continue to do it until it's not profitable, but it's being very profitable for them right now, so they're going to continue to do it.
We'll see.
They're selling what, 5 million a piece of these games, if not more, plus how many places, and they can see the uptick in PlayStation 4s are selling, so like they're making buku bucks with it.
I think people start to buckle after a while. Like when microtransactions were new and they found that people were just buying them, they could shove them in everywhere. But you hit a point where it loses its fashionability and it doesn't become a thing anymore. Like, do you remember how much shit Bethesda got for horse armor back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Now people are asking for horse armor. That's what they want. They want cosmetic, DLC.
They went about it in a bad and expensive way, and they got shit for it, which was appropriate. The market sort of adjusted itself, and I think you'll see some of that. Like, Artifact from Valve.
Oh yeah, they're catching a whole pile
that got
of shit
all
right
kinds
now.
of hell.
Yeah, because they're like it's a supposedly it's not free to play. Don't you have to buy it?
It's $20 to buy.
Yeah, really? So it's you have to buy the game and you have to purchase everything. You can't even play certain events without tickets, which costs $1 a piece. You can't get cards in any way besides purchasing them. So they sort of peeled back on that a bit. I read a small article on Kotaku today about it. I haven't been following that game because TCG games are fucking all over the place, and I don't care for the microtransaction environment. If I'm going to spend money on a game, I want to actually play it a lot, and I don't know. TCGs don't do it for me anymore.
I do think there's a giant pushback between over microtransactions. I think they're becoming more conscious, especially after the Disney debacle with Star Wars. And
yeah, I think the closer you edge yourself towards play or pay to win, or the closer you get to throwing out incomplete games and charging for consistent DLCs, the less people are going to tolerate that over time. It's going to get to the point where they're like, here's Fallout 101. You get your first vault in the 5 square feet outside of that, but then you have to pay for the town next door, and you have to pay for the dungeon over there. People are just gonna be like, nah, fuck it. I'm gonna go play this other game that some indie developer made that looks like shit but is free and have more fun.
I mean, yeah, you probably will, but I mean, I'm a little bit more doom and gloom than you are. It's just, have you played anything in Assassin's Creed Odyssey at all?
No.
Have you played the game? They claim they didn't, but they made the game slow. They made it grindy and kind of boring. And then you could buy a $10 boost to double your XP. And people kind of got mad. People kind of got mad about it, but not really. I mean, you saw a little bit of pushback from it, but I know a lot of people that bought that $10 XP boost so that the game wasn't boring anymore.
Yeah, but you can get away with that now. Are you going to be able to get away with that forever?
Yes, it's gonna be commonplace, and once it becomes commonplace, then what are you gonna do?
No, it's going to be where, yeah, the next handful of Assassin's Creeds and clones and whatever other games might have the same system. People are eventually going to get tired of it, and then somebody's going to make a game that doesn't have that system, and people move over into it.
I mean, games cost money to make, and these people that are investing in games want to see what their monetization market is going to be moving forward. So I don't know that you're going to see a big AAA multiplayer game that isn't riddled with this ever. It's going to be that way until the end of time. This is just something we're just going to have to live with.
Yeah, I think they'll eventually just burn their cred, and then somebody else will step up.
All right, since we've been talking about Steam, we'll talk. Everyone, pour one out for the Steam link. Anybody ever play with one of these? I know Phil had one. He brought it over to your house, Max,
and lost it. Apparently,
he lost the power cord or something like that for it. It was a good little box. It was a confusing little box. It for those of you who don't know, it was a little table or a little set-top box that you put on your TV and allowed you to play your PC games over your Wi-Fi onto your TV without having to move your gaming PC over to your TV. And that's pretty much all it did. I mean, it had some other apps too, but that's what its big draw was. You still needed to have the $1,000 PC to play the games, right? You still needed to have a good wireless connection. You could just play your games on your PC or move your box over to your TV.
What? No, we're lazy.
It was solving a problem that didn't really need solved.
The 1% of people that are too lazy to get up from the couch and move to their computer chair.
Well, and then split that again to that 1% of those people that also have a PC capable of playing the games right. But this does introduce an awesome opportunity for those that this does sound like the best thing ever. It is on sale for $2.50 right now.
And I believe there's like $8 shipping. So
yeah, well, that's where they get
the shipping cost 3 times more than the actual product.
Well, they want to get you. They want to sneak you in the door. They probably should just give it away for free and then say $8.50.
Yeah. Even at its cheap point, it's not really worth it for me.
Tim may have muted himself. I don't know. How do you mute yourself in Discord?
It's the big mute button next to the leave call. It's a picture of a microphone.
Yeah, I did see his mute icon pop up in the upper right.
I think it went away. Tim, are you with us?
Nope, there it is again.
Anywho, while he tries to get that going, he did. He texted me, but I don't know how to. I don't know what to tell him to do. Can you hear us? Give us a thumbs up if you can at least hear us. No.
Yeah, bring him over.
So, I don't know. I think all of that stuff belonged into an era where Steam was trying to push forward with like couch level gaming, and it just wasn't working out.
Hey, buddy.
I wish Tim would be in this chat right now, because we used to have many nights about what Steam box was going to take off or not.
Yeah, well, I mean, they invested a lot of money into Steam boxes. They invested money into big picture mode, which I've never seen anybody use except for myself when I'd hit it by accident and not.
No, I like big picture mode.
Yeah, no, it's not worth it. Yeah, I think that was a concentrated push they made, and it was just not interesting. People didn't care. I mean, I remember when Phil got that the Steam remote. He was showing it to me. I was like, "Oh, cool." And then I was like, I don't actually ever need one of these. I have an old Xbox 360 controller that's been working perfectly fine for years.
No, his controller, Steam controller.
Yeah, I was like, I don't need haptic feedback or a mouse when everything is set up for Xbox control. Like half the games on Steam, if you plug in your controller, it just reskins your UI to be like press A, press B.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this is great. I like this.
Hey Tim, are you back?
I'm back.
Yeah,
Welcome
sounds
back.
like you're using the mic on your computer now, which is fine. But
Well, it should be. Oh, how about now?
No, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
no,
Hey, Tim,
either.
you just told me you got it. It's like 5 minutes late.
Yeah. Can you understand me?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
We're good. We were talking about Steam and them trying to invade the living room, and I was just saying that I was hoping that you'd be able to get your mic straightened out because we used to spend many a night arguing whether or not the Steam box was going to take off.
And it failed.
And it failed, but now you're sitting here arguing that the Xbox is essentially going to be the next Steam box. Because you had, taking us back, I think we're going to scrap the last topic here because we're going to go long. But I want to go back to the Xbox because you had a theory that I've been hearing going around the internet that you think the next Xbox is going to be forward compatible, meaning you're going to be able to play Xbox 2 games on an Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially like a PC.
Yeah.
That's no. Where what do you think? What's your thought process behind that?
Microsoft keeps like they keep wanting to go with this ecosystem. They talk about like ecosystem. They gaming for Windows to be compatible with that because if you notice, like there are no more Xbox exclusive games.
Mm-hmm. No, I love
it.
It's great.
What's that?
I love it. It's great. I don't have to buy an Xbox.
Yeah, so there's no more exclusive. So like they want this ecosystem. So they essentially, I believe, are potentially going to chase this cell phone idea, which I mean, I don't particularly see working out in their favor.
You're talking about their Azure cloud streaming service.
Just everything. I don't know. Like they're trying to buck the. They're trying. No one. I think for the most part, people are really happy with the way console gaming is going, and they're trying to push it into areas where people never ask for. They don't really care, and it's
they're losing. They're losing.
Well, I get it.
They got to do something, and like it or not, streaming, not just digital distribution, but the actual streaming of video games is coming, and it's coming soon.
I believe it. I definitely see it. I'm still really skeptical of how you're going to get like Capcom to put their game on your streaming server. I get it for Sony to have their own streaming, like that says their first party games, and Microsoft having their first party games and all that stuff. But to sit there and try to coerce Konami or Capcom or anybody to want to put their game on a streaming site, I just see them not being like, no, like why would I do that? I just put $100 million in developing this game. What are you going to give me?
You're not understanding the install base is going to be 10 times the amount. So, say they go to Capcom, hey, we have our app installed on, hundreds of millions of people's phones. You got to put Resident Evil, what are we up to? 18. We got to put that on. You got to put that on our system. Yeah, we're only going to give you $3 a stream, but people are going to stream this a lot. You're going to make your money back.
Until they can actually prove that, especially until they can actually prove that, I don't know if you're. I don't know. I don't know the business model.
It's coming, and you sound a lot like the owners of Blockbuster when Netflix thing. Who the hell has fast enough internet to support this? Nobody's going to do that. People want to watch their movies. They don't want to stream them. You're going to see it, man. It's coming. It's coming soon.
Streaming gaming has its own issues, though. Like,
yeah,
you can stream a movie pretty easily because it can, load X amount of time ahead, but you need to be on the spot if you're going to stream a game, and that lag will literally kill you.
Yeah.
And you're talking about issues. I mean, the people still have these things. They were saying the same thing about streaming on Netflix, that long ago, that the quality wasn't good and it stuttered and it lagged and juddered. Yeah, but internet's going to keep getting better.
Yeah, but we're talking about two different environments where you could deal with a movie or media, but this is an interactive game where, how long ago was it that people did not like wired or wireless mouses and keyboards because there was that microsecond of lag when you're
and
playing.
Technology fixed that.
Yeah, it did.
You're not accounting for the fact that eventually the internet is the point where the input lag from your box to your TV is greater than the input lag from the server to the box.
Yeah. Well, I don't hear people talk about the difference between wireless and wired peripherals, but I still do hear a lot about people playing in any sort of PvP game where they're like, oh, that second of lag spike fucked me, or there was a little bit of inconsistency in my internet, or anything like that.
But there's always going to be the premiere. There's always going to be even in a day of digital streaming, you can still go to the store and buy a 4K Blu-ray. It's still there for the people that want the premiere experience. For the people that, are you going to see like a fighting game tournament played completely on, cloud servers? Probably not, because the people playing at that level are going to be able to notice the lag. But in 10 years, you don't know what technology is going to look like. Elon Musk's already putting his satellites up in the air to start beaming his global Wi-Fi around, and 5G is right around the corner. So
I'm pretty sure in 10 years, it's just going to look like the new edition of the Fallout game, and we're just going to be sitting here with a ball and jacks going, man, these graphics fucking suck.
All right. Well, I'm going to run through a quick rundown. It is Thanksgiving week, so that means it is Black Friday, and there are some screaming deals. PlayStation 4 Slim Bundle with Spider-Man, one of the top 3 best games on the PlayStation this year. $200, cannot beat it. Xbox One S Minecraft Creators Bundle, $200. You should probably buy the PlayStation 4. Nintendo Switch Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, $299. Really good deal for the cost of a Nintendo Switch with the game that you're probably going to end up buying anyways. Those are all at Best Buy. Kick it over to Amazon if you want to go up to the top tier. Xbox One X, $399, $100 off. Xbox One X is the best way to play video games right now. So if you want
PC,
as if you would have let me finish talking, if you want a close to the experience, the Xbox One X is the way to go. And then a criminally underplayed game this season, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, $30 digitally on the PlayStation Store through Amazon. So
I have one more thought.
One more?
Your final thought.
Well, I was gonna bring back one more question, but go ahead and give your
okay,
thought.
Well, I have a question for Tim. The Oculus Go is $200 now. Are you still using your VR?
No, my VR is unhooked because I got violently sick after I playing Farpoint, which is a really cool game. It's a great game, and that was the problem. It was a cool game. I didn't want to get out of it,
right.
And I've noticed myself getting sick, and I persevered, and that was the worst fucking thing in the world because I about threw the thing across the room because I had to get it off me so bad because I was sick for like 2 days afterwards. So right now is it unhooked, and I really don't want to hook it back up because I still remember not feeling good after.
Is it just that specific game, or like
it was that specific
general,
game? Yes.
Is the VR system good in your opinion?
VR system was fantastic, but it was that particular game because it was a first-person shooter, so you could use the sticks, so you have independent control if you're walking and you're looking around, and that's the disconnect for me. Like I've had one of my favorite games is Rush of Blood for it, which is an on-rail shooter. But like you could sit in a chair and like it didn't really make me sick. I was fine. I was cool with it. But like once you had to you
started to experience the sensation of moving without moving your feet.
Yeah. Doom VR did a great job because VR teleport. I didn't get sick with Doom because the teleportation really helped out with the nausea, but like the actual moving with the joystick, no, it wasn't happening for me.
You should check out I think it's Firewall. That's the new first-person shooter that came out. They implemented the controls into it, and supposedly a really fun game.
Okay.
We need to hook it back up so we can try it out. And I need to play Tetris Effect like tomorrow. So you need to get that thing back out.
All right.
So this is the typical part. Well, we can actually go through questions. Max, your wife said you've never had a 64?
No.
And Atos Leet says, did you see the patent made by Sony to make a controller with a screen like the Wii U? I actually did see that. I don't think it's going to be the big Wii U style screen. I think it's just going to be a little notification bar. The patent left it a little bit ambiguous, but we'll see what Sony's going to do with their next controller. And I'm going to count this as our write-in question because somebody asked me about this. Non-gamer buying a first video game console for their kid. What do you suggest?
2DS.
Yeah, any Nintendo product.
Jaguar.
His kid wants to play Madden, so I thought the Nintendo Switch was the way to go. I mean, that is
How old is this kid?
8, I think.
You can step up to a PS4. He's old enough.
Well, I steered him down the path of Xbox because there's nothing that a PS4 has that an 8-year-old can play. All Spider-Man. The exclusives, all the great Spider-Man. I didn't think about Spider-Man.
That alone, that is the great kids games.
You know, your God of Wars and your Horizon Zero Dawns, they're all mature rated games. They're probably games you don't want to sit your 8 down. Now, your 8-year-old is probably going to be fine because you're going to have him watching Terminator out of the womb. But
possibly.
I definitely have not done anything like that yet.
Yeah,
it was Predator for us.
Yes.
Tim's house was the house that I went to when I was a kid to watch all that stuff because my mom wouldn't let me. I remember Tim had a copy of Carmageddon for the PC. I think that might be my first mature rated game experience was Carmageddon, just running people over and getting it in first person view and watching that body come flying up on the windshield. I think you tainted me, man. You spoiled my youth. All right, boys, you got any closing thoughts? We're about an hour and 15 in.
Ryan, I got one for you.
Yes.
If you get sick of Pokemon Go, I saw you're still playing Slay the Spire, right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
We had talked about this before, but Night of the Full Moon, definitely a good pickup on mobile.
Okay.
It's a complete game. I'm pretty sure it's in that same neighborhood of like a roguelike with cards. When I originally picked it up, there were 3 possible classes and only one was unlocked. You could pay a little bit of money to unlock the other ones. And I sort of let it go for a while, and I just recently picked it back up because I never took it off my phone. And they had some good updates. Have a whole bunch of classes for like $4 or $5. I unlocked every class in the game, and they're pretty unique for playing through. I beat it twice more, but there's like 5 different end bosses, and you really need to know what you're doing for some of them because I had the one where it was like you can poison somebody. Like that's how I built it when I got through, and I picked the jackass wizard guy who you have to kill like 10 times because you have to kill him and then he turns into a statue, and the statue you have to damage just in one turn, and then however much life that goes down, you have to kill the guy all over again until he turns into a statue again, and then kill the statue down until you actually break the statue. And I had no way of doing direct damage. It was all poison. So it would be, he turns into a statue, and I'm like, all right, I got nothing. I'll poison him 10 more times. Next turn, he just turns back into a person. I was like, fuck. And he just completely destroyed me.
Night of the Full Moon. Yeah, I have it up here on my website. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, it was definitely worthwhile. It took me a little bit to get a handle on how it actually played, but now that I understand the mechanics, I really, really enjoy it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
And I'm a big fan of mobile games that you don't have to spend money on, or it's like basically when you first download it, since you only get one of the 5 classes, it's basically a giant demo. And if you'd like to play, yeah, give them $5, sure, and you unlock it. I don't like games that have any sort of currency whatsoever. Hey, give us like $20 and we'll give you 1,000 gems. I'm like, uninstall. How about that?
Yeah, I'll download it, I guess, and I'll let you know. All right,
cool.
We good?
That's
Sorg, want to say bye?
Next time, we'll come up with some news for
What?
PC-related stuff. All this console business is.
PC. All right.
You gotta
give us
run
some
the closing.
topics and we'll talk.
Did you turn us off yet?
No.
No, man. We remember we were trying to work on this last week. We have to, have a nice little.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Do you got it? Did you practice?
Oh no, was I supposed to practice something?
All right. Anyways,
Hold on.
This is
Catch us.
Tuesday
No. I'll do it. Shut up.
He's gonna go. You're gonna go. Okay, I got it. This is a
Okay.
special Tuesday episode of Game Night Now, but we normally broadcast every Wednesday on twitch.tv/Game Night Now. You can catch the archive of all of our past broadcasts in there, as well as YouTube. Search Game Night Now. Everything's up over there. We run a rerun of the previous week's episodes, usually on this Tuesday time slot. So we hope to see you guys next week. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes. We'll catch you all later.